We are starting our next unit now that we're finishing up supply and demand. We're going to start talking about market structures, and market structures is really just looking at how much competition is in a certain industry. So, for instance, I'm gonna give you the notes here in just a second, but this is your note sheet, and that this is going to be handed out to you in class. Um, but if you don't want to wait, I have downloaded copies that you can make your own and type it in, or you can write it on a piece of paper and then transfer it over, whatever works for you. But what I want you to look at is that right here, perfect competition. Below it, I'm going to give you examples. That's going to be the very last thing. But every single one, monopolistic competition, oligopoly, and monopoly, we're going to talk about how many firms there are, control over price, type of goods, barriers to entry, and non-price competition. And actually, these are swapped. So I'm going to do that real quick. So you can fill this in and go with and go along with me in the notes. All right, so let's get started on these notes. This is starting chapter 7, lesson 1. Okay, so just really what I want you to brainstorm is to think about, why is competition important as a consumer, but also as a producer as well. I know that I like having options. I like having higher quality, lower priced items. So typically consumers benefit in the end. So there's 4 markets: pure or perfect competition. It's the same thing: monopolistic competition, oligopoly, and monopoly. And here you can kind of see, if you're in perfect competition, you have very little control over the market. But if you're a monopoly, mono means one, that's one company. You're going to have a lot more control over the market. So we're going to judge these over the 4 that I just gave to you. So the number of firms, type of product, control over price, each one will have its own bullet point. So in perfect competition, there's lots and lots of competitors. So there's many firms. The big thing is that they only sell identical products. So like apples, produce would be a great example, because like apples are apples, bananas are bananas. We've tried to make them different by saying, oh, that's a Chiquita banana. But at the end of the day, it's still just a banana. But we try and make our banana, like Chiquita tries to make theirs sound better by putting a label on it. They are price takers. That means that there's so many companies that are producing the item that they don't really have a say in the price. Because if you price it higher, no one will buy. And if you price it too low, then you're going to lose money. It's very easy. So it's free entry and exit to enter into the marketplace. And then there's no non-price competition. Perfect competition is extraordinarily rare. Where you see that is produce. If you would go down to the Bar Street Market and people are selling their produce, that's going to be something similar. Any sort of fish products or metals do that as well. Next one is monopolistic competition. Monopolistic competition is when you have a large number of sellers. So you still have a lot of sellers, but here the difference is differentiated products. So they are not identical. Their products are actually going to be different. It's going to be very easy to enter in and exit the industry. They are also price takers. And because their products are different, there is lots and lots of advertising. So when I say like lots of advertising, we call that non-price competition. That just means that they advertise, they brand, and they really focus on consumer satisfaction. So some examples of this would be clothing companies, toilet paper, hotel chains, restaurants, hairdressers, all fall under the example category. The next one is oligopolies. Oligopolies is when we have a few large producers. They obviously differentiate their product. If you think of cereal, there's only 4 cereals that dominate the market: Kellogg's, Post, General Mills, Quaker. And their products are all very similar, but they try and make it just a little bit different and then really focus on those advertisements. They are a price maker and it's possible collusion. What that means is that Kellogg's and General Mills and Post could actually work together to set prices. It's going to be very hard. High barriers are difficult to enter in because you're going to be competing against really large companies. And then there's lots of non-price competition as well. Non-price competition can also mean advertising, promotions, giveaways, location, expertise. They're just trying to make sure that you're not focused on price, but rather like the brand name. Like there's a reason people are willing to spend $45, $50 on a hoodie, all because it has a check mark that is called a swoosh because it's Nike. That's what I'm talking about. And so that's just kind of, they make their brand a little bit different, more unique. And so you're willing to spend more money on it. And then the last one is a monopoly. This is where one company dominates the market. So it's a one seller. They have complete control over the market. So they are a price maker. Their product is standardized. It's not identical because there's no competition, and they don't have to differentiate because they're the only ones selling it. And then they have blocked entry into the market, and then there's no non-price competition. They don't have to focus on advertising because you're going to buy their product if you want it because they're the only ones selling it. And some examples or close to examples of this would be like public utilities such as electric, gas, and water. Possible near monopolies in years past has been Intel, Microsoft, Google, Amazon. So there's just a lot that we look at in 2020 that could be potentially potential monopolies. Sorry. All right. If you guys have any questions, make sure that you also answer the discussion question. You should have answered that before you did this. Thanks and have a good day.